This is Leaf Life. All things cannabis for all people. Now, Ricker and the Bearded Lorax.
We publish a free magazine called The Leaf, and it's available in print in 14 states. Pick it up at your local cannabis retailer, and it's also available online at leafmagazines.com. You're looking at Mike Ricker right now on YouTube, your host of Leaf Life, with my co-hosts, Wes Abney, also known as the Bearded Lorax.
I speak for the trees.
And there's AJOG.
Hola, aloha, OGs.
And sitting in for Mary J. White, Douglas Douglas.
Drink more weed.
The motorcycle rider stereotype is one that is steeped in an anti-authority identity that is fueled by beer drinking and divided into territorial clubs often. So, as the culture evolves away from boomers and into a younger crowd, what is the safest and most community-driven way to give it a fresh throttle? This is Bikers and Cannabis.
Rev it up higher.
Our first segment, Don't Ride Drunk. And our second segment, The New Culture. But before we get educated, we've got to get medicated. So let's get stoned. All right. We're off to the races. Orange, you glad AJ's here?
Batter up, y'all.
She's wearing orange. Get it? Get it? So wherever your days led you, now it's time to fire up, chew up, or drink up and get in the mood as we introduce this show's Greg the Guinea Pig.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Greg the Guinea Pig. Who's our guest this week?
Our guest,
Greg the Guinea Pig warning. These tasks are undertaken by experienced cannabis users and under the supervision of accredited professionals. So please take our advice and definitely try this at home.
my gentleman, Josh Laurenti is the host of a motorcycle enthusiast's YouTube channel called Shade Tree Surgeon, and he collaborates with Sessions Extracts Cannabis Company out of Oregon, a Leaf Life sponsor. We love Sessions. Josh, welcome to the Leaf Life podcast.
I'm glad you guys are having me on, man. I'm having a great time so far.
And you ain't done shit. But you know what? He ain't going to smoke, so we got to call in a pinch hitter.
And now, stepping up to the plate, here's today's pinch hitter.
All right, AJ, you're going to be hitting, so spin that wheel and see what we got. Yay!
The big spin. Here we go.
Oh, what's in AJ's stash?
Here you go, AJ. What you got?
All right, y'all. Let's see here. We got the Hiking Stick by Parks and Recreational. This is a Washington State brand.
Yeah.
The Acadia Bluberry. And it sounds like they want you to take this out on a hike with you.
With a name like Parks and Rec, you can tell they're active, kind of stoner folk.
No doubt.
About getting in the woods.
My favorite way to smoke herb is to get out in nature right after.
Yeah. You know, here in Washington State, we have some really beautiful national parks and state parks. And it is, you know, it's the juice of the fruit of being in the Pacific Northwest as you get all of this nature and forest therapy. And with a name like Parks and Recreation, hey, man, it fits the vibe here in the PNW, the state of Washington. We're broadcasting here from the South Seattle area in Georgetown at Leaf HQ. How's that taste?
It's awesome, actually.
Right
it's
on.
Acadia Blueberry. It definitely has blueberry hits. It's not overly sweet or like, hopefully these are real, or...
It's real flavoring.
Hopefully it's cannabis derived.
That's
or...
what I was going to say, but I don't want to be, I mean, everybody has to each their own, but it tastes like real blueberry terps is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah, blueberry kush terps all the way. So that's, and the other thing is that it's just a quick pull. It's ready to go for you.
Yeah, automatic draw. AJ, your jacket matches the aesthetic behind you, the tapestry. That's so great. Let's talk about biker culture, man. This is a different one. You know, when we say don't ride drunk, Josh, it is part of that culture, drinking, because a lot of rides go to, the points of interest are bars. Let's go to this bar, and then we're going to ride to this bar, and then it's a Sunday ride or a Saturday ride. And I would think that most of the bikers are having a beer or two, and then they get back on the bike and ride. And, that's great. Fine. Do what you got to do or whatever. But, the majority of bikers, it appears to me, are baby boomers, and that's kind of, the old guard. And now plant medicine has a much bigger presence in society than it did 20, 30, 40 years ago when Harley Davidson was selling a hell of a lot of bikes. So don't ride drunk, means don't be a dumbass and don't try to promote that image of I'm the cool guy that rides a motorcycle and I have to drink as well. So it's a new vibe kind of, isn't it?
Definitely, man. The whole thing about riding drunk and hitting bars is a lot of people aren't having one or two. Been in the bar industry my whole life.
Yeah.
Most people are having way more than that. And anybody who's out riding, certainly I'm going to go ahead and say I think one or two is fine. I really do. If it's over the law, that doesn't change my mind that I think it's fine. The problem is most people are out there having 10 or 12 and having worked in the bar industry, been around motorcycles my whole life. And as someone who either partakes of smoking or drinking while I'm riding at a reasonable level, beer definitely messes you up way worse on a motorcycle than marijuana does, I guess, according to your tolerances. But most people are having way more than one or two, man. And, I know you've been to a fair few bars yourself, man, down about where I'm from. I just assume everybody on the road is about 6 or 7 beers deep.
You split your time between Portland, Oregon, and Tampa, Florida, right?
Yeah, I do, man. Tampa, Florida is where I was born and raised, and
Nice.
I will say your reputation precedes itself because...
What's that?
Yeah, I was listening to you on 98 Rock circa 1996, 1997 when I got my very first motorcycle.
That's cool. I grew up listening to Ricker as well.
Oh, no way. That's
on
so
the
cool.
rock station out here.
Yeah, also guilty. Also guilty.
Yeah, wow, man. A lot of love for your Ricker man right now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What can I say, man? It's kind of cool to be in the same room with you and being on this podcast and stuff like that. It's very
Appreciate
cool.
that. Hey, tell me about your YouTube channel. It's sick. I was just checking it out, dude. You got like almost 300,000 subscribers.
The thing with YouTube, man, I've made YouTube videos since YouTube started.
Yeah.
So the year after, 2007 is when I started. But, like everyone in their early 40s, late 30s, I grew up on Thrasher magazine, Crusty Demons of Dirt. I was ordering, skate tapes out of the back of Thrasher and watching all these VHS tapes that you order out of magazines. Oh, yeah. And when they finally made handy cams affordable, that was the first thing I started doing. You just got to film everything, Jackass era and CKY and all that stuff. You got to film it. And then when YouTube came out, I was like, perfect. Now I can show everybody.
So you've been building it that long.
Well, it didn't start out like I was going to make $1 million. I just wanted to film ridiculous things and put them on YouTube.
Shade Tree Surgeon. Go follow him now. And then back to Florida, probably a lot more motorcyclists down there than there are up here in the PNW in the Pacific Northwest because the weather's a lot better. And in Florida, you get a lot of the snowbirds, which are people from the northern states that go down for the winter. And many of them, are retired and they love motorcycles. And so don't ride drunk. You don't see a lot of motorcyclists getting DUIs. But you do see a lot of motorcyclists getting killed. And that's, obviously not a good thing, not something I want to harp on or anything, but I've known a few guys that have gotten killed on motorcycles. It's very dangerous.
Well, when you're riding a bike, you use all 4 limbs. So you're using both hands, both feet, and the core of your body to steer this thing around. You're only on 2 wheels that can fall over. Negotiating a turn can be difficult, not seeing something that's in front of you. And of course, you're unprotected. So it's like it's not necessarily that it's so much easier to crash, even though that it is. It's just that the consequences are higher if it happens.
Certainly, just like driving a classic car.
Yeah.
Like, my dad has an old Mustang and the windshield, like the top is a convertible. It's like a steel bar.
Yeah.
And so if you and then it's like a steel dashboard covered with like a 1/4 inch of like felt or whatever that is.
Suede, yeah.
So, and a wood grain steering wheel.
If you want to look cool, you better be ready to die like a man in that thing.
It's going to just thwack your head.
Yeah,
so
dude.
but that's the thrill. Like
Certainly.
of being on a motorcycle is being exposed to the elements. And I think it's probably more dangerous to be with drunk drivers that aren't the motorcyclist because people don't see bikes. They, easily change lanes. And
I got to disagree. I really got to disagree with you, man. And this is not a super huge popular take in the motorcycle world, but when a motorcycle gets into an accident, I would say 99 times out of 100, and everybody will disagree with me. You'll see in the comments, 99 times out of 100, it was the motorcyclist's fault. Not because somebody didn't do something stupid, but because they didn't see him. So you got to expect the cars are going to do something stupid. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You have to be alert, and it really becomes second nature. But there are things that make you not pay attention, certainly.
Hey, I do that in my car. I'm looking, anytime I go through an intersection, I look all 4 ways because there could be some dumbass coming through looking to ram me in the side.
Absolutely.
so you feel like it's more on the motorcycle culture to.
It's just another level of awareness that you have to have.
I think the responsibility should ride on you having chosen to ride a motorcycle and put yourself in this position where you're in danger. Why should I expect, and I truly believe this ain't lip service, why should I expect every other person in the world to conform to my pleasure, what I'm doing for fun that is unnecessary? No, I'll figure it out.
That's a big question for the world right now, but I'm sure that doesn't make you very popular in the motorcycle community where people expect, just like with bicyclists, like bicyclists will do stupid shit and then be like, you have to respect my place on the road. And then, the reality is that on a bicycle, you're even more exposed because you don't have a way to accelerate.
It's a philosophy.
Is that part of the culture? Is just be ultra aware?
I certainly think it's more like a lot of people are more like bicyclists and they want everyone to respect them on the road and they get very angry if somebody goes out of line.
Get flipped
I
off.
I just don't agree with it. You should be aware. You've put yourself in this position and you should make do, And now if somebody does something absolutely egregious and tries to run you off the road or something really stupid, sure, be mad. But just everyday traffic, like how many times you get cut off a week? It happens.
Yeah.
So that's why being sober or, within moderation.
Within moderation, I would
so
say.
important.
Because I just
Sure.
When it comes to, I don't know what I can say on here, but it's like, I think you should be able to smoke a joint while you're driving. I think you should be able to have a beer on your way home. It is what it is. It's not a popular opinion, but
Fair enough.
That's just how I feel. So
Hey, bro,
I'm not going to do it because I don't want to go to jail, but
you can say whatever you want. You
All
can
right,
believe
cool.
whatever
Yeah.
you want. You can break any rules you want. It doesn't mean that the man's not going to throw you
There you
behind
go.
bars.
There you go. Consequences.
Do you think that like alcohol versus cannabis, as far as like being on a bike, the thing I love about cannabis is that, I can smoke and have a, fat blunt or a joint with my friends. And then within like about an hour and a half, I know I'm golden because I'm a long time user. Right. So like the tolerance level and the symbiotic relationship that my body has with the plant, it's just like, I'm good, right? And
I think that the beneficial aspects of marijuana last way longer than the high does. So for me, when I smoke, same thing. About an hour later, I'll be fine. Unless I'm just like, I'm freaking shooting for the moon here.
Hot dabbed.
I can be messed up for longer, but take a couple puffs, smoke a hog leg out with the boys, like within an hour, I'm fine. That's not the case with beer. If I drink 6 beers, which I certainly am not against doing, I'm going to feel better tomorrow. Not in the same
But what
day.
about the experience on the bike? Is it going to be better? Like, as far as the way I feel about the difference when I'm driving and cruising on cannabis, I'm like extra attentive.
Well, I'll tell you.
I really feel that way.
Since I'm allowed to say whatever I want, I'll tell you this. Using a brand that shall remain unnamed because it has to stay in Oregon, I've smoked weed in every single national park between here and Florida. And one thing I love to do is take a small hit. I use a dugout because it's very reminds me of being a kid, and it makes it feel illegal even where places
Like a wood
it is
pipe?
legal. Yeah, the little dugout with a metal cigarette. Sure. Yeah, they're fun. I like it. I like to smoke weed like it's still illegal. It makes it more fun
Nostalgia, man.
Do you store your bag in your sock just in case?
I'm like,
You like
it's
risk.
Yeah. So
I see.
I'll go to something I've done a lot is I'll go to national parks and just take a couple of puffs off a one hitter, ride through the national park, and it's just like I can feel every inch of wind over my entire body and gaze upon the wonder and majesty of nature and experiencing it in such a better way than beer's a war of attrition. You're constantly chasing a high with beer, which is, again, I'm not saying I'm anti-beer, but just those are facts.
Yeah.
A beer, you'll hit a zenith for me around beer 3 or 4, and then from there you're just trying to get back to that, but you can't get back to that until you reset by going to sleep. You don't ever get back to that. Whereas with marijuana, I can smoke, become sober, and feel fine, and then smoke again. I could do it 4 or 5 times a day if I space it out
no
right.
doubt.
Or you just carry it through the entire day by doing constant dabs, brother.
There's that one
half
too.
The people at this table. All right, hey, Josh, now it's time for you to play the Weirded Lorax.
Now, can we all just get a long hair? Weird. Beard. This is
the Weirded Lorax. Josh, you know who the Bearded Lorax is, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you never saw one in Tampa before, just manatees.
You know, only heard of them.
They're my cousins.
Well, they are related, like, dinosaurs are related.
They eat grass, seagrass.
Yeah.
I like to smoke seaweed, but
Ooh.
similar taste.
He sees weed and smokes it. So, okay, the Weirded Lorax. Josh, this is the Bearded Lorax. Which of these events actually happened? Okay, there's 3 scenarios here. Only one of them's true, although all 3 are highly plausible. All right, here we go. You ready, brother?
I'm ready.
Okay. Number 1. For his first attempt at using a dating site to meet new women, Wes developed an account that showcased his most meaningful preferences, which included scaling evergreen trees for budding pine cones to shred in his flour mill grinder for rolling blunts, checking refrigerators of seasonal snow shelters in the mountains, and of course strategic placements of bodily functions to mark his wild territory, but was ultimately disappointed to find that the only right swipes were from widowed Sasquatch gilfs looking to catch up on lost time.
Oh, goodness.
Sounds plausible.
Very plausible.
Dating in Seattle's hard.
It's hard.
I've heard.
So, everywhere. Even harder in Tampa when you're a Bearded Lorax. Number 2. Wes was once on a billboard for lottery scratch-off tickets after being contacted by an agency in search of a hairy actor who could play a fictional beast for the new Wild in the Wild scratch game. But sadly, the billboard was immediately taken down after multiple complaints from conservative political groups called Bearded Loraxes Do Not Exist, or the acronym BLONDE, who believe that if Bearded Loraxes did exist, they would be riding unicorns over the Bermuda Triangle.
Sounds fun.
Okay. All right, that's number 2.
I do like a scratch ticket.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Good call, Douglas.
It's like the intro to gambling.
Yeah, it's like the physical act itself is so rewarding. I mean, it's like you're doing reverse art.
It's like you're doing a dab. Yeah. And number 3. Upon being alerted by his Ring app through surveillance camera, the Bearded Lorax caught a black bear wandering through his yard on the hunt for free nibbles as Wes was away in Oregon salmon fishing with Grandpappy Lorax. Number 1, 2, or 3, Josh?
I'm not sure which one it is, but I want it to be 1. So that's what I'm going with.
Well, that's very incorrect.
That's okay. I still think that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's a strong visual to have.
No, I've got it in my head already.
You never know what you're going to find in a freezer.
I was more about the Sasquatch thing. In my story, he's taken them up on it.
Was that Sasquatch gilfs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to be sure.
I'm into
grandmothers.
You never know till you try, but I get it.
They don't have the same hang-ups as the younger Sasquatch.
That's correct.
There has been a lot of change in
They're
that
just ready
community,
to
I've heard.
catch up on lost time, man, and get some Bearded Lorax in their life. By the way, number 3 was true. And the good news is that he now has a legitimate suspect for that bear, for who may have stolen the RFK for president signs and also the missing 2-gallon jug of Grandmammy Lorax's legendary infused honey. If anyone in Kent, Washington happens to see a honey drooling bear passed out on your bed, please contact @BeardedLorax on Instagram, as the Bearded Lorax is interested in making a new rug that will tie the whole cave together.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, if you want to discover cannabis news, reviews, entertainment, and culture, and explore every single Leaf magazine at your convenience, search leafmagazines.com. All right, coming up in our second segment, we'll dive into the new culture of bikers because of cannabis. We'll get another spin of AJ's wheel as well and keep the party going. Leaf Life continues in just a moment.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.